Love, a precious gift, but also a challenging journey. Have you ever felt lost in your relationships? Or wondered how to build a lasting and happy love? Have you ever had a man walk out of your life, only to come back, acting like nothing ever happened? He says he misses you, that he's been thinking about you. But something feels off. The words are sweet, the timing is convenient, yet deep down, you sense it's not real. In this video, we're going to uncover the 6 types of men who return not because they love you, but because they can't stand losing control, being alone, or watching you move on. If you've ever felt stuck in a cycle of false hope, this is for you. Welcome to the channel, Sophia's Knowledge, and my name is Sophia. This is where we share lessons about love, practical experiences, and secrets to building strong relationships. In today's video, Sophia will reveal to you 6 types of men who are easy to get back together but never serious. If you are looking for a deeper understanding of love and how to develop relationships, don't miss this video. Before watching the video, find a quiet space and put on your headphones so you can feel every word I share. Relax and enjoy this journey with me. Are you ready to embark on this journey? Let's go. Type 1. The man who only misses you when he's lonely. At first glance, it might feel like he's coming back because he still cares. Maybe he sends you a late-night message, saying he's been thinking about you. Or he pops up after weeks of silence with a nostalgic memory. It stirs your emotions, makes your heart skip a beat. But here's the hard truth you need to face: not every return means a new beginning. Some men only come back when they're lonely, not when they're truly ready to love you again. These men are experts at making you believe that something real still exists between you. But what they miss is not necessarily you, it's the comfort, the familiarity, the emotional cushion you once provided. They don't miss loving you. They miss not feeling alone. 1. Loneliness is not the same as love. A man who reaches out only when he's lonely is not acting from a place of love, he's acting from a place of lack. He misses having someone to talk to, someone who listens, someone who used to be there at his convenience. And you, who once held space for him, become the easiest emotional escape route. He's not coming back because he realized your worth. He's coming back because he feels empty. 2. The timing always tells the truth. Pay attention to when he reappears. It's often during quiet hours, late at night, during holidays, or when life isn't going his way. Maybe his plans failed. Maybe his dating life didn't work out. Maybe everyone else is busy, and suddenly, you become the soft place to land. But love isn't seasonal. A man who truly values you doesn't only think of you when the world feels cold. He shows up consistently, not just when he needs something. 3. He doesn't talk about the future, he talks about the past. When a man misses you out of loneliness, his words revolve around memories. Remember when we used to laugh like that? Or I was just thinking about that time he dives into nostalgia, but never dares to talk about building something new. Why? Because he doesn't intend to stay. He's just looking for a temporary fix to fill his emotional void. Talking about the past feels safer for him than committing to the future. 4. He avoids deep accountability. Ask him why he left, and you'll get vague answers. I was confused, I needed time, things were just complicated. He never really owns up to the way he hurt you. That's because his return isn't about healing or making things right, it's about soothing his own discomfort. A man who misses you because he's lonely isn't interested in change. He's interested in relief. 5. You're his emotional backup, not his priority. In his mind, you're a safety net. He may not want to be with you, but he doesn't want anyone else to have you either. He keeps just enough emotional contact to stay in your orbit, without actually showing up for the hard work of a real relationship. He gets to feel less alone, and you get confused all over again. That's not love. That's emotional manipulation. 6. You start losing yourself in the cycle. Here's where it gets dangerous. You begin to mistake his neediness for affection. You start to hope. You wonder if maybe this time, he really means it. And because you're kind, loyal, and emotionally attached, you open the door. But each time he walks in and out of your life, he takes a little piece of your peace with him. You start second-guessing your instincts. You begin lowering your standards. You become someone who waits, hopes, and accepts crumbs in the name of love. 7. Breaking the illusion. It's time to break the pattern. Stop confusing loneliness with love. Real love doesn't just show up when it's convenient. It doesn't disappear when things get hard. And it certainly doesn't treat your heart like a pit stop. You deserve more than to be someone's momentary comfort. You deserve to be someone's chosen, every single day. Not just when they feel empty inside. 8. How to respond to this kind of man. The next time he reaches out, ask yourself, what has really changed? Has he grown? Is he willing to do the emotional work? Or is this just another lonely night for him? Don't respond based on how much you miss him. Respond based on how much you love yourself. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful answer you can give. 9. Your heart is not a hotel. Let this be your reminder, you are not a place people check into when life gets quiet. You are not an emotional convenience store. You are not his backup plan. When someone only remembers you in moments of solitude, but forgets you in moments of clarity, they do not deserve the space to return. You owe it to yourself to let go of temporary comfort in exchange for permanent peace. What do you think of this lesson? Have you applied something similar in your life? Please share your thoughts or stories in the comments. I will read and respond quickly. Thank you for your attention. Let's continue together. Type 2. The man who craves attention, not connection. He's charming, mysterious, and always seems to know the exact words to make your heart skip a beat. He compliments you, flirts effortlessly, and gives just enough attention to keep you wondering. But here's the catch, he never fully commits. He keeps you close enough to keep your interest, but far enough to avoid responsibility. This man doesn't want connection. He wants attention. And the moment you stop chasing, his interest fades. This is the man who is addicted to being desired. Not because he values intimacy or vulnerability, but because your affection feeds his ego. 1. He lives for the thrill, not the depth. What he truly wants is the rush that comes from being wanted. When you're chasing him, he feels powerful, validated, even invincible. The idea that someone is thinking about him, texting him, missing him, it strokes his ego in ways nothing else does. But real connection? Emotional depth? Mutual growth? Those require vulnerability and emotional maturity, two things he often avoids. Once the chase is over, and you're ready for something real, he begins to pull away. 2. He sends mixed signals on purpose. One day he's warm, affectionate, and present. The next, he's distant, cold, or disappears without explanation. It's not accidental, it's intentional. Mixed signals keep you confused, and confusion keeps you engaged. As long as you're trying to figure him out, you're still playing his game. To him, unpredictability is power. If he keeps you emotionally off balance, he ensures that you're still trying to win his approval. 3. He thrives on being pursued. This type of man often loses interest the moment you stop chasing. The minute you step back, go silent, or reclaim your power, he either panics and returns, or moves on to his next source of attention. You'll notice he rarely takes the lead emotionally. He wants you to make the effort. Why? Because effort implies interest, and interest feeds his self-worth. 4. He avoids real emotional investment. He'll flirt endlessly but rarely talks about his fears, dreams, or deeper feelings. Emotional intimacy threatens the surface-level control he enjoys. If he opens up, he risks vulnerability. So instead, he plays it safe behind the mask of charm and mystery. Real connection asks, can you stay when things get difficult? But he never stays long enough for that part. 5. You feel emotionally exhausted, not emotionally fulfilled. The relationship, if it can be called that, feels like a roller coaster. One day you're on top of the world, and the next you're drowning in doubt. You find yourself analyzing texts, second-guessing his intentions, and constantly asking, does he really care? But here's the reality, when someone is truly connected to you, you don't have to ask. 6. He needs admiration more than he needs love. Love is a two-way street. It's about giving, growing, and sometimes sacrificing. But this man doesn't love in that way. What he craves is admiration. He wants to be desired, talked about, and thought of. Your attention isn't a gift to him, it's his addiction. And once the admiration slows down, or turns into requests for more emotional effort, he starts to withdraw. 7. He collects people, not partnerships. To him, people are a source of validation, not connection. He enjoys knowing there are multiple women thinking about him. He might keep in touch with exes or flirt with strangers just to feel admired. He's not building bonds, he's building a fan base. You're not his partner, you're his audience. 8. You begin to shrink to keep his interest. And that's where the danger lies. You start changing who you are just to stay appealing. You become more agreeable, less demanding, quieter about your needs. You stop asking for clarity or commitment because you're afraid it'll push him away. But here's the thing, if someone pulls away when you speak your truth, they were never going to stay in the first place. 9. How to break the pattern. Recognize it for what it is, emotional manipulation wrapped in charm. The man who craves attention does not want to build a life with you, he wants to keep you orbiting around him. You break the cycle by choosing silence over struggle. By choosing dignity over desperation. The right person won't need you to chase, they'll walk beside you, meet you halfway, and stay. 10. You are not a mirror for someone else's ego. You are not here to validate a man who doesn't value you. You are not here to inflate the self-esteem of someone who can't offer emotional security in return. Your heart is not a stage for someone else's performance. Real love doesn't require you to lose yourself to keep it. Final reflection. You deserve someone who craves you, your mind, your soul, your heart. Not just your attention. Not just your praise. But your presence, your partnership, your full being. So the next time someone enjoys the chase but disappears when you stop running, walk away with your head held high. You are not here to prove your worth. You are here to be loved, completely and sincerely. If you are still watching the video, do not hesitate to comment continue. Leave your thoughts and questions below in the comment section, I look forward to hearing your opinions, and do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel so that Sophia has more motivation to create more good and meaningful videos. Let's continue together. Type 3. The man who fears being forgotten. He doesn't call you because he misses your smile. He doesn't message because he suddenly realized he made a mistake. He reaches out because the thought of you moving on, truly moving on, terrifies him. Not because he wants you back, but because he wants to know he still matters. This is the man who is not in love with you, he's in love with the version of himself that still has a place in your heart. And the moment he feels that place slipping away, he returns. Not to build something real, but to reclaim relevance in your world. 1. He's driven by ego, not emotion. When he senses that your life is no longer revolving around him, his ego kicks in. It's not that he misses you. He misses the comfort of knowing that someone out there still thinks about him, still aches a little when they hear his name. So, he sends that message. Likes your photo. Comments on a story. Just enough to stir the waters. Just enough to remind you, hey, I'm still here. 2. He's not ready to love, but not ready to be forgotten. He doesn't come back to give you what you deserve, commitment, clarity, or effort. He comes back to avoid fading into the background of your memory. His biggest fear is not losing you, it's being erased. He wants to be the thought that lingers. The name you can't quite let go. The what if that never leaves your heart. 3. He's emotionally inconsistent. By design. His actions are hot and cold. 1 week, he's reaching out. The next, he disappears. You start to feel confused. Does he still care? That confusion is not a flaw. It's the strategy. As long as you're uncertain, you're emotionally occupied. As long as you're wondering, he hasn't been forgotten. To him, emotional clarity would mean closure, and closure is his greatest threat. 4. He reacts to your detachment. Watch how he behaves when you start healing. When you stop texting. When your social media glows with peace, joy, or a new beginning. That's when he shows up again, not out of love, but out of fear that you're doing just fine without him. He doesn't want to come back. He just wants to make sure he hasn't been replaced. 5. He thrives on emotional presence, not physical connection. He might not want to see you in person. He may never suggest getting back together. But he wants to know he still lives in your mind. That you're still hurt, still nostalgic, still curious. That emotional presence, that quiet hold on you, is what fuels his need to stay loosely connected. 6. He confuses guilt with affection. Sometimes, even he doesn't know why he's reaching out. He might say he just wanted to check in, or hopes you're doing well. But underneath the surface, there's a sense of guilt. Guilt that he left. Guilt that he moved on too quickly. Guilt that he's easily forgotten while you're still healing. But guilt is not love. And you should not mistake his guilt for genuine care. 7. He's not rebuilding bridges, he's keeping doors ajar. He doesn't come with solutions, growth, or accountability. He comes with vague messages, small talk, and surface-level interaction. That's because he has no intention of walking through the door again, he just doesn't want it closed. He needs to know he can still walk back in if life gets lonely again. That option, that open door, gives him comfort. Even if it gives you false hope. 8. You begin to second-guess your healing. Each time he reaches out, it stirs the part of you that hasn't fully let go. You replay old memories. You wonder if maybe he's changed. You begin to crave what you were starting to forget. This is where your growth becomes fragile. Because healing often looks like silence. Like moving forward without answers. Like letting go even when your heart still wants closure. 9. Relevance is not the same as love. Just because he wants to be remembered doesn't mean he wants to return. There's a big difference between someone who doesn't want to be forgotten and someone who doesn't want to lose you. Love shows up. Love commits. Love takes responsibility. Wanting to be remembered is about him. Wanting to love you is about you. 10. You are allowed to forget. You are not cruel for letting go. You are not heartless for moving forward. You are not ungrateful for erasing memories that no longer serve your peace. It's okay if his name stops meaning something. It's okay if your heart stops aching. And it's okay if the version of you that once needed him no longer exists. Final reflection. The man who fears being forgotten is not here to give you love, he's here to protect his own sense of importance. But you are not responsible for preserving someone's ego at the expense of your own healing. Your heart is not a monument for those who left. You are not a memory to be clung to. You are a whole person, growing, evolving, and allowed to let go of anything, or anyone, that no longer fits into your piece. So the next time he reaches out, ask yourself, does he want me, or just the comfort of being remembered? Because you deserve more than to be someone's passing thought. You deserve to be someone's lasting choice. Type 4. The man who lacks direction in life. He might be kind. He might be full of potential. He may even make you feel like you're the center of his world when he's present. But underneath the surface, there's a quiet chaos. He doesn't know where he's going in life, what he wants, or who he wants to become. And that lack of direction bleeds into everything, including how he treats you. This man doesn't necessarily intend to hurt you. In fact, he might genuinely care. But he's not ready. And when a man is unsure about himself, he will never be sure about you. 1. He's emotionally available, but only for moments. At times, it feels like he's all in. He opens up, shares his thoughts, maybe even speaks about dreams and goals. But those moments are fleeting. Because as soon as life demands structure or decisions, he retreats. He wants love, but love requires intention. And you can't build a future with someone who isn't even grounded in their present. 2. His life feels like it's always in progress. There's always a plan that's almost coming together. A job he's thinking about. A project he might start. A version of himself he wants to become. But intentions don't build relationships, actions do. And if he's constantly in a state of figuring it out, he'll keep dragging you into a waiting room where nothing ever really begins. 3. He leans on your stability without offering his own. You become his safe place. His motivator. His emotional anchor. He turns to you when things fall apart, when he feels lost, or when the pressure gets too much. And because you love him, you support him. But love cannot survive when it's always one-sided. You need someone who can carry you too, not just someone who needs carrying. 4. He uses love as a distraction from his confusion. For a man without direction, love can feel like purpose. You become his focus. Not because he's ready to build a life with you, but because you help him forget that he doesn't know what his life is about. It feels romantic at first, being someone's reason. But eventually, it becomes a burden. Because instead of building something together, you're being used as a placeholder for meaning he hasn't found within himself. 5. He avoids commitment, not because he doesn't care, but because he's unsure of everything. He doesn't know what kind of job he wants, what kind of man he wants to become, or what kind of life he wants to live. So how can he truly choose you? Uncertainty in life always leads to uncertainty in love. You'll always be in a state of almost exclusive, almost serious, almost settled. But almost is never enough for a woman who knows what she wants. 6. He resents pressure, even when it's necessary. You might ask him about his plans. About where the relationship is going. About what he truly wants. And instead of giving answers, he gets defensive. He feels pressured, even when you're just seeking clarity. This is not your fault. Wanting stability isn't pressure, it's emotional maturity. And if he calls your standards too much, it's because he's not ready to meet them. 7. You start to feel more like a guide than a partner. You begin making suggestions, helping him find his way, offering encouragement every time he gets stuck. You become his coach, his therapist, his life planner. But you didn't fall in love to raise a man. You fell in love hoping to grow with one. And slowly, you begin to feel emotionally and mentally exhausted. 8. He might disappear, and come back when he feels lost again. When life becomes overwhelming, he pulls away. Maybe he ghosts you. Maybe he says he needs space. But then, weeks or months later, he returns, apologetic, confused, looking for comfort. But nothing has changed. He's not back to build. He's back to borrow your stability until the chaos swallows him again. 9. You start sacrificing your own goals to carry the weight of his. You delay your dreams. You make excuses for his inaction. You shrink your expectations just to maintain peace. But love should lift you, not ask you to dim your light for someone who's still searching for his. You deserve someone who celebrates your growth, not someone who uses it as a crutch for his lack of direction. 10. Choosing yourself is not abandoning him, it's honoring your own future. You can have empathy without staying stuck. You can love someone deeply and still realize they are not your responsibility. You can care for a man and still walk away, because staying would mean sacrificing your own clarity for his confusion. Letting go of a man who lacks direction is not cruelty, it's self-respect. Because no matter how much potential he has, love requires alignment. And someone who isn't sure of himself can never be sure of you. Final reflection. A man who lacks direction in life is often caught between who he is and who he hopes to become. But you are not his in-between. You are not a pause, a placeholder, or a life raft. You deserve someone who stands beside you with vision, not someone who clings to you because he has none. Your future is worth protecting. Your peace is worth preserving. And your love is worth building with someone who knows where he's going and wants you right there beside him. Type 5. The man who's still emotionally attached to his past. He might be with you physically. He might even say all the right words. But deep down, you can feel it, there's a part of him that still lives in yesterday. In another story. With someone else. And no matter how present he tries to be, something about him remains unavailable. This is the man who hasn't let go of his past. Not because he doesn't see your value, but because he's still haunted by the echoes of someone who came before you. And when a man is emotionally tied to someone else, no matter how much he claims to care for you, he can never fully be yours. 1. You're in a relationship with his memory, not just him. You start to notice it in small moments. A song makes him quiet. A place stirs something distant in his eyes. He talks about the past more than the present. His stories are filled with her, the ex he doesn't think about anymore. But he does. And you can feel it. His emotions haven't caught up with the reality he's trying to build with you. He's here, but not fully. 2. He compares, silently or openly. Sometimes it's subtle. Other times, it's obvious. Maybe he says, "She used to do that too," or "This reminds me of when," and even when he doesn't say it out loud, you feel the comparison. You're not being paranoid. When a man hasn't healed from his past, he carries old standards, memories, and expectations into new love. You become a shadow in someone else's story, even while trying to write your own. 3. He avoids emotional intimacy. He might be affectionate. He might enjoy your company. But when it comes to real vulnerability, talking about his deepest fears, his hopes, his view of the future, he withdraws. That's because emotional intimacy requires presence. And presence is impossible when part of his heart is still entangled in what used to be. 4. He's not over her, but he's trying to move on through you. For many men, the easiest way to get over someone is to move on to someone else. But a new relationship doesn't erase unresolved feelings. It only buries them until they resurface, usually in the form of confusion, emotional distance, or sudden detachment. He didn't come to you with a healed heart. He came to you with a heart still bleeding, hoping you wouldn't notice the wound. 5. You become his emotional rebound, even if he doesn't say it. You start to sense that you're filling a space, not being truly seen. You're not loved for who you are, but for the void you fill. You become the distraction from his pain, the comfort when he's feeling nostalgic, the warmth in a season of loss. But you deserve more than to be someone's emotional recovery plan. 6. His past defines his boundaries. He doesn't trust easily, because he's been hurt. He keeps his guard up, because last time it didn't go well. Every time you try to deepen the connection, you're met with resistance. Not because of who you are, but because of who she was. His past becomes the blueprint for how he loves now. And you're left trying to prove that you're not her. 7. You end up competing with a ghost. This is the most painful part. You start comparing yourself. Wondering what she had that you don't. Why he stayed so long with her. Why he seems more emotionally moved by memories than by moments with you. And no matter how hard you try, you realize you're fighting for space in a heart that was never truly cleared for you. 8. He might reach out to her, or still keeps reminders around. He says it's nothing. Just a photo. Just an old message. Just a memory. But you know better. Closure doesn't look like holding on to old conversations. It doesn't look like keeping her name in his phone. Sometimes, it's not that he wants her back. It's that he doesn't know how to let her go. And that alone is enough to keep him emotionally unavailable to you. 9. You feel emotionally lonely, even when he's around. There's a silence in your connection. A gap. You give more than you receive. You feel more invested than he is. And the hardest part is that you don't know if it's your fault, or hers. But it's not about blame. It's about recognizing the emotional vacancy that comes when someone hasn't closed the last chapter before opening a new one. 10. You deserve to be someone's first choice, not a second chance at closure. You are not a placeholder. You are not a test to see if his heart still works. You are not a distraction from someone else's memory. You deserve someone who looks at you and sees a beginning, not a bandage. Someone who chooses you, fully, freely, and without the ghost of someone else hanging over every kiss. Final reflection. The man who hasn't moved on from his past may not be malicious. He may be hurting, confused, or emotionally numb. But that doesn't change what you need. You need wholeness. You need clarity. You need someone who is emotionally available, not just physically present. So if you're loving a man who's still tethered to his past, ask yourself this: are you in love with who he is? Or are you just hoping he'll become someone who finally sees you clearly? You don't have to wait for someone to heal to feel loved. You deserve to be with someone who already has the space in their heart to love you right now. Type 6. The man who plays emotional games. He doesn't break your heart in one moment. He chips away at it slowly. With every hot and cold message, every vague promise, every disappearing act followed by a sweet return, he confuses you, drains you, and yet somehow keeps you hoping. This is the man who plays emotional games. He's not here to love you. He's here to win. And in his game, the goal is not intimacy, it's control. 1. He thrives on uncertainty. One of his strongest tactics is inconsistency. He's kind and affectionate one day, distant and cold the next. Just when you're about to walk away, he reels you back in with warmth, apologies, or just enough attention to make you doubt your decision. This emotional roller coaster isn't accidental, it's strategic. He wants you off balance. Because when you're confused, you're still emotionally invested. And that keeps him in control. 2. He gives just enough to keep you hanging. He knows what to say to keep the connection alive. He'll talk about a future, but never make real plans. He'll say he cares, but never show up when it counts. You're left constantly waiting, for clarity, for consistency, for more. And that's how he keeps you. Waiting. Hoping. Chasing a version of him that only exists in moments, but never stays long enough to become real. 3. He disappears when you need him most. The moment things get serious, When you express your feelings, ask for commitment, or need support, he pulls away. He becomes busy. He needs space. He blames you for being too much. But when you're happy, independent, or starting to move on, he reappears. Not because he wants to love you, but because he hates losing his grip. 4. He uses silence as punishment. If you upset him, question him, or challenge his behavior, he goes quiet. No explanations. No conversations. Just silence. It's his way of regaining power. Making you question what you did wrong, even when you've done nothing at all. His silence is not peace, it's a weapon. It's designed to make you chase, apologize, and accept less than you deserve. 5. He confuses desire with drama. For him, emotional chaos feels like passion. He equates fighting with connection. He creates tension just to feel intensity, then mistakes that intensity for love. But real love isn't about constant tension. It's about safety, consistency, peace. And this man cannot give you those things, because he confuses emotional volatility with meaning. 6. He manipulates your empathy. He tells you stories of his pain, his trauma, his emotional wounds. And because you're kind, you soften. You excuse his behavior. You tell yourself he just needs healing. But he's not looking to heal. He's looking for someone who will let him avoid accountability. Your empathy becomes his escape from growth, and your trap of emotional labor. 7. You lose sight of yourself. Little by little, you become someone else. You overanalyze every word. You question your worth. You blame yourself when he pulls away. You start to believe that if you just loved him better, he would finally stay. But love is not a performance. You shouldn't have to earn someone's consistency by sacrificing your own stability. 8. He keeps you in a cycle. The relationship isn't linear, it's a loop. The same patterns repeat. Affection, withdrawal, confusion, reconciliation. It feels familiar, even addictive. And each time, you convince yourself that this time will be different. But the only thing that changes is your tolerance for pain. And the longer you stay, the more you normalize the dysfunction. 9. He fears losing control, not losing you. At his core, this man isn't afraid of losing your love. He's afraid of losing the ability to influence you. He needs to know that you still care, that you still react, that he still matters. The moment you stop playing the game, when you choose peace over chaos, he will either intensify the manipulation or disappear completely. Because without your emotional reaction, he has no power. 10. Love should not feel like survival. If loving someone feels like walking on eggshells, trying not to say the wrong thing, hoping they won't disappear again, you're not in love. You're in survival mode. And no one can thrive in that state. You deserve love that doesn't confuse you. That doesn't punish you. That doesn't require you to lose your voice to keep someone else's attention. Final reflection. The man who plays emotional games is not confused. He knows exactly what he's doing. He reads your reactions. He studies your patience. He manipulates your hope. But here's what he doesn't expect: for you to wake up. For you to realize that love is not a game, and your heart is not a prize to be played for. You are not here to be tested, twisted, or toyed with. You are here to be respected, cherished, and chosen, without having to beg, bend, or break yourself. So the next time someone makes love feel like a battlefield of mind games and mixed signals, remember this: you don't win by playing harder. You win by walking away. Conclusion. Not every man who returns deserves a second chance. Some come back not out of love, but out of loneliness, ego, or emotional dependency. They aren't looking to rebuild, they're looking to relive. And while their presence may stir your heart, their patterns speak louder than their promises. The man who misses you only when he's lonely, who craves attention without connection, who fears being forgotten but doesn't want you back, who lacks direction and stability, who's still emotionally tangled in his past, or who plays emotional games, each one may temporarily awaken old feelings. But none of them can give you the future you deserve. Love should not confuse you. It should not make you question your worth, beg for consistency, or lose yourself in the process of trying to be enough. You deserve someone who chooses you because they're sure of who they are, and even more sure that they want to build something real with you. Not someone who returns out of habit, fear, or control. Let go of the man who comes back for the wrong reasons. Let go of the cycle. Let go of the illusion. Because the right man won't make you chase clarity. He'll bring it with him. And when you stop settling for half-hearted love, you create space for wholehearted, unwavering devotion. The kind of love that doesn't play games, but builds a life. Thank you for watching today's video. I'm so excited to share my lessons about love and relationships with you. I hope you learned something new and can apply it to your life. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next videos. Thank you for always accompanying and supporting me. Have a great day and don't forget to love yourself a lot.